Hi, welcome to Coffee Break Time with God. I know it's been a while, haven't really been online in terms of posting a video, but yeah, I'm back. Okay, so today's topic is God's timing is perfect. So many YouTubers and people online are talking about how they've been having rapture dreams and God's coming soon. Many of them, think it'll be very soon. Some, whom they call Watchmen or Watchwomen, even go so far as to predict when the timing of the rapture may be, where it may take place. We may know the season, but I don't know if we know the exact date. But the point is, we could only speculate or make, guesses. I have to admit, over the past several months, I found myself watching a number of these channels, Watchmen, but I found I was spending less and less time on focusing on who matters most, God, and getting deeper into His Word, reading the Bible, and taking time to talk with Him. I mean, I'd talk, but I'd have short bursts of conversation, and nothing's wrong with that. But I just found I could be using more of that time that I was online, getting deeper into His Word. And no one's perfect, but for my journey, I know I'd been sort of missing the mark a bit. So I found myself recently and over the past months, on and off, getting a bit weary as I watched these channels, a little sad at times, starting to think to myself, when's God coming? And sometimes you might have low, high moments in your life, and it sort of might drive you to think, oh, when's He coming? I just want to go to heaven. So that was me often. But don't get me wrong, I love my life, love my family, but there was a time I was just like reading the Bible every day, praying every day, talking to God every day, really drawing nearer and near to Him. And there was just this increasing sense He's coming soon, coming soon. I won't say it's gone away, but not as intense as before. But it just felt like, this year's been the weirdest. Anything could happen. But I guess the point is, we know, those that believe in God, that heaven awaits, and it's so much better on the other side than what we see right now here on this side on earth. But back to my topic, God's timing is perfect. I was reflecting on recently how my husband and I had met. We were not really super young at all. We met in our early 30s, so not long ago at all. And we started a family. We've got 2 boys, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And I reflected, asking him, why couldn't we have met sooner? I asked several questions like that, like, what were you doing on that year or that date or that month? And as I discovered more and more, because I was trying to compare it to where was I at this time, I realized, well, when I was starting my first full-time job, he was just entering the country. He was adapting to a new place. And also he was facing a serious injury that he was recovering from. And well, I was just I hadn't even moved out of home, not that you need to, but there were lots of things I hadn't experienced, like travel, and had we met at that time, maybe I wouldn't have visited all the different countries and places I did go to. So as I reflected more and more, I thought, you know what? God's timing is perfect. He put us together when it was the right time, His right appointed time. By the time we met, I'd grown, and I'm sure my husband had grown, and we both had more experiences. Like I said, travel, met different people. But in saying that, there's some people I later realized he knew that I knew. And I wondered, had we met earlier, maybe I wouldn't have met those people that we now both know, but separately met, if that makes sense. So, every individual, every couple is different, but all things panned out the way they did. And I think in Kings 1, chapter 5, verse 3, it discusses how Solomon's father, King David, sorry about the camera shaking, King David was never able to build a temple in God's name. So let me just draw to that scripture. Kings 5, verse 3. Alright, I'm using a King James Version Bible. Thou knowest how that David my father could not build a house. That just sounds weird, an house, but I'll just say an house, unto the name of the Lord his God, for the wars which were about on every side, until the Lord put them under the soles of his feet. But now the Lord my God hath given me rest on every side, so that there is neither adversary nor evil concurrent. And behold, I purpose to build an house unto the name of the Lord my God, as the Spirit spake unto David my father, saying, Thy son, whom I will set upon thy throne in thy throne room, he shall build an house unto my name. So basically it's saying at the time his father was king, he could have built the temple, but there was so much warring and wars and people against him at the time. He was fighting, busy fending off, that he didn't have the capacity to work on building this kingdom of the temple in the name of the Lord. But he had been told that his son would do that. So again, it's about timing. It wasn't for David's time, but for Solomon's. But in all God's time, things worked for God's good, for the good of those who love him. I'm not sure where that is in the Bible. I'll have to look at that and add it to the description box. So I'd just like to say, within this story, God also provides the right provisions, not just the right times, the right situations. So in Kings, this story of 1 Kings chapter 5, it talks about how, chapter 5 I think it was, I read it this morning, that the situation was great because King Hiram was able to provide workmen for King Solomon, and they were able to have a treaty and a good relationship, and King Solomon was able to provide food for the royal household of King Hiram. Excuse me for mispronouncing the names probably. But yeah, just God, not only is God's timing perfect, but his provision is. And maybe in life we don't see it at the time. We think, what? But often in reflection, later you can sort of see, oh, God provided for me there, and what he gave me, that was enough. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time on Coffee Break Time with God.